So Conor Benn is victorious over the weekend. Let's talk about it live on BWTM Sports Gaming. Don't go anywhere. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. My name is Ingram Jones, and thank you for joining us for this show. Okay, if you've not subscribed already, do smash the subscribe button, hit the bell, and make sure you've hit it. When you hit the bell, you click on the notification bell. It is to all. There's 42% of you out there that are subscribed to the channel but have not hit the notification bell, so make sure you hit that notification bell. Right. So let's get talking. I hope you can hear me clearly for the show. Apologies first and foremost. Ultratech, my big brother, I would love to have been on the show, but I was out traveling. Been out for 4 or 5 days regarding doing some sports stuff. So now that I'm back, I'm sure in the future we can definitely do another hookup and we can talk boxing like I know you would love to talk about. So let's talk about the subject at hand. Conor Benn wins against Granados, ADRIAN Granados, yesterday, live on DAZN Boxing. And he went 10 rounds against ADRIAN Granados. And, you know, his promoter, Eddie Hearn of MATCHROOM, in an interview before the fight, said that he was going to ensure that Conor Benn would be managed carefully. It's very interesting that he says this, and I think to myself, the fact that he said this, has the penny begun to drop for Eddie Hearn? Is it the fact now that he has his own ship to take care of now with DAZN or MATCHROOM Boxing, I say? Is it the case now that that's happened, that he's no longer with Sky, that he can't fast track all his fighters, sticking them into world title fights when they're not ready, and just destroying potential pay-per-view fighters? Because if you're going to continue with that manner of approach of bad, just sticking potentially pay-per-view fighters in a position of danger, instead of managing their careers or promoting their careers, like more of a Frank Warren style, where he will build you up slowly, and then when he feels you're ready, stick you in a world title fight. Eddie will stick you in a world title fight whether you're ready or not. And as we've seen in the past, most times, in fact, 98% of the time, the maturation has been so shocking that guys have got absolutely smashed to pieces. But Eddie gets paid either way. So, but this isn't a knock of Eddie Hearn. This is just something I've noticed he said there, and I thought to myself, okay, is that because that this is Conor Benn and he's the father of Nigel Benn, and you don't want to get Nigel angry that you're taking Conor Benn's career? You're saying you have to manage his career in a very careful manner, or is it the fact that you realized that all these potential fighters you had, you now have got a reputation of sticking guys in fight that are not ready and getting smashed to bits? You see, the slow burning careers, i.e. Kell Brook, now he was a ticket seller, he was selling out Sheffield, he was a world champion, yet he still managed to get burnt. Anthony Joshua, unified heavyweight champion of the world, could have fought Trevor Bryant instead of Andy Ruiz, but they did not want to do that deal because they didn't want to do dealings with Don King and rather Al Heyman. hence why Andy Ruiz came into the picture, and that has damaged Anthony Joshua. And I don't care what anybody says, that has tarnished his reputation. And until Anthony Joshua goes back to America, that reputation will remain in tatters. It doesn't matter what he does now. I mean, if he blows out Alexander Usyk, yes, that's good. But the Americans will remember him as the guy that went to America with big muscles and got beat up by a fat guy. That's how the Americans will look at it. And that's how they'll continue to look at it unless Anthony Joshua goes back to America and either knocks Andy Ruiz out in America, or he goes over there and destroys Deontay Wilder. Now, those are the only things I think that will satisfy the American public. You know, he'd have to beat Tyson Fury and destroy Deontay Wilder in America. That might be very difficult, the Deontay Wilder thing, but I'm going to talk about that on another show. So I think the boxing public in America, good evening, Jimmy, how are we doing? I think the boxing public in America is going to particularly America, are not going to forgive Anthony Joshua regardless of what he may do in the future, unless he goes back to America, because he has to put that right with the whole Andy Ruiz situation. Going to getting yourself knocked out in America and then going to Saudi Arabia or wherever he was not going to solve the problem. Yes, he got his belts back, and that's wonderful. But the fact of the matter is, he should have done it back in America and done a number on Andy Ruiz and put that right. I'm only mentioning that because of the car crash operations of Eddie Hearn. Lewis Ritson wasn't he the next Gennady Golovkin of the Northeast? Rushing way too early into fights. He wasn't ready for. Ted Cheeseman came off a good win off of Carson Jones. He could have built on that. If you look at the way Frank brought through Ricky Hatton, Joe Calzaghe, Prince Nazim Hamed, you look at those guys there, they became household names, you know. And I wonder if Eddie is going to try and do that with Conor Benn. Well, I'm going to talk about that as well, Conor Benn, the fighter. Guys, that's not saying much. America play football and basketball exclusively in the US, but call themselves world champions. They aren't the brightest bunch. Well, I won't call it the brightest bunch. I think it's the arrogance of it. I think people don't seem to tend to. It doesn't need to bode well with. But America is a superpower, and when you're a superpower, there's a certain arrogance you have about you that, you know, arrogance can come with what's the word? Do as we like, how we feel, we are the world. See, if America believes that they are the world and the world stops with them, then yeah, it's kind of like the world, isn't it? I mean, even though they call it now the new home of boxing, everybody knows in the big fights, you go to Madison Square Garden. Okay? You go to Madison Square Garden. With basketball, you know you go to America for basketball, yeah? Baseball, you know you're going to America. You're going to America. American football, you know you're going to America. You know, hockey, ice hockey, you know you're going to America. So America, there's a lot of the world there. And, you know, baseball's played mainly in America. So, I don't know. It's another conversation for another day. But I get your point. Coming back to my point about the whole Conor Benn situation. My views on this fight against ADRIAN Granados. First of all, I think congratulations, Conor Benn, by the way, for winning your fight against ADRIAN Granados. Another step-up fight. Granados came to pave the way for other fighters to come and have a go. That's what Granados did. Ben was in America recently, and I believe he's training in America. But hear me out on this. Granados knew from round one he was not going to fight Conor Benn. He got hit with a right hand. He took it. Okay, the guy punches hard. He doesn't hit hard enough to knock me out. I've tasted more. I've tasted better. So he wanted to find out if this guy was real hype or he was the real deal. Granados came and did a scouting mission for the Americans. Believe me when I say this. He did a scouting mission for the Americans. Granados got on his toes and did not trade with Conor Benn. He got on his toes and he boxed. And you know, it's been a long time since I've seen a fighter, when they get hit with a shot, move their head. The last guy I saw, I remember watching boxing like that, was Oscar De La Hoya. And I remember De La Hoya fighting Trinidad. You'll see him do it a lot. Trinidad would throw the right hand and he'd move his head. It's a way of taking the sting off a punch. You throw when a person throws the right hand, when you stand, you take it clean there. That's got most impact. But when a person throws a punch and you roll with the shot, say you're rolling with a shot, you're not really taking the full impact to the shot. And if you look at Granados, a lot of time he was moving away from the right hand. He wasn't walking into the right hand, a la Samuel Vargas. So when you're coming forward and you've got Ben throwing the overhand right and you're coming forward to the shot, that has maximum impact because you're coming forward, that punch is coming forward, you have maximum impact on the shot. So Granados said, all right, when I fight you, I'm going to be turning my head. I'm going to turn my head. And you swing a lot, big swings. You look at Ben, a lot of the shots he's throwing, the right hand he threw, and particularly for a right hand, that spun him literally right the way round. So the Americans will look at that. They'll look at that and say, well, okay, Granados has been stopped before. He has been badly hurt and beaten up before. He has had some good wins, good fights. Has been in good fights as well. Where does Conor Benn fit in now with Granados at really the latter stages of career? Where does he fix in the mix? For American standpoint, I will use this standpoint because I know that Ben has been calling out the Americans. They'll say, all right, so this guy we know will not corner you and put his punches together. Like he can't close the range down fast enough to trap you on those ropes and keep you there. We know that. We also know, if you look at Conor Benn, when he fought Granados, there was a part where Granados was just dancing around the ring and he had his hands up almost like in the air and he was goading Ben. And then suddenly he stopped Granados and then he went for Ben and he had Ben against the ropes. And that exchange, even then, Ben didn't look convincing. So Ben didn't look convincing when his back was against the ropes, which I thought he would have been. He wasn't convincing when his back against the ropes, and he actually wasn't convincing coming forward because every time he kept coming forward, he was walking onto shots. And Granados is not a big puncher. He's not a big puncher, and his purpose for this fight wasn't to engage in that kind of way. Ben was open, he was wild, he was defensively, as far as I'm concerned, irresponsible. And when we're talking about guys like Adrian Broner now, Broner's the type of guy that when you come at him and you've got him in the ropes, he'll sneak them uppercuts on the inside. He'll drop back. Broner will set traps. Broner's not a fighter you can just come forward and just throw bombs at and he's going to let you. He'll slip, he'll slide, he'll shoulder roll, he'll throw shots off the shoulder roll. He's not the sort of fighter. He's the sort of guy that hits hard enough to trouble Conor Benn. So, you know, they're asking for that. They're looking for that fight. They want to be careful with that fight. So Conor Benn, when he comes forward, he leaves himself open to get hit with shots. When he's back against the ropes, he's vulnerable there as well. So I'm not quite sure what sort of whether Conor Benn's I know if you stand in front of him and trade up with him, he'll have a war with you. But I don't actually think he punches as hard as advertised, one. And two, I still don't think his chin is great. And those two things are a concern for me. Because he won't be staying fighting the Granados level of opponent. Believe me, he won't. And the way he's talking about him, them moving him slowly or moving him carefully, they'll have to move him very carefully. Chris Van Heerden, who's been a fellow guest on this show from South Africa, has said he'd like to fight Conor Benn. I actually think that would be a decent fight. I think Chris Algieri, if he was still fighting, would be a good fight for Conor Benn. But there's some fights I don't think Conor Benn is ready for. Actually, you know, fight I wouldn't mind seeing Conor Benn versus Kell Brook, because Kell Brook is physically strong. He's a physically strong type of guy, and he's still got that punching power, and he's got enough to stand off, throw uppercuts, throw the straight right hand. He hits hard enough. And Kell Brook is still a name. He's still a name. Yes, he got beat by Crawford. Yes, he got beat by Golovkin, but he's still a name, and I still think that that's a good fight for Conor Benn. To see where he is, I think Josh Kelly is still an amazing fight for Conor Benn to have. Marku, stay away from Marku for now. Stay away from Marku. I think that boy hits too hard. He's got a good chin, and I think he's a dangerous fight. So the Americans will take away from the fight of Conor Benn. This guy's not as big a puncher as he talks about. He does get emotional in the ring. He is vulnerable. And if we're going to fight him, now's the time to fight him, because he will get better as a fighter. You can see it. But I can see Eddie wants to move Conor Benn into that pay-per-view. You can see that's where they're going to try and move him to, pay-per-view. They're saying that he's a fighter that a lot of people are going to pay to watch. Yeah, but they're going to pay to watch him. They're going to want to watch him in good fights. There's only so much of the ADRIAN Granados you can fight, and Samuel Vargas is. Eventually, you're going to fight someone who's going to pop you back hard. And you're going to fight someone who's got a name. So I think, guys, Josh Kelly, Amir Khan, Kell Brook, you know, those guys. Even, I'll tell you what else, the other guy fought the other day. He fought Gennady, not Gennady Golovkin. What's his name? I've lost the welterweight's name. But those guys would be a good step up for Conor Benn, I think, if he's going to move up to that next level. But he'll have to be careful. If I'm Conor Benn, I'll look at being more patient, learn from that fight. Like his father didn't like movers, and the reason they don't like moving, when you plant your feet like that, it's harder for you to maneuver around the ring because you're looking to load up with every shot. So is it a case of like father, like son? Is Ben going to fight a guy like Michael Watson? Because we knew that the way to beat a Nigel Benn was, the first version of Ben was to tuck up tight, wait for Ben to throw punches, and tuck and fight off the ropes, throw your little uppercut, short right hands, and just wait for Ben to get tired and then unload. That's what Michael Watson did to Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn punched way much harder than Conor Benn, and he was knocking guys out. You know, he was a fearsome puncher, Ben, at middleweight. I don't think Conor's the same sort of fearsome puncher. He'll need to be a fearsome puncher in the welterweight division because there's some real live wires in the welterweight division. But a good performance nonetheless from Conor in terms of getting the win by ADRIAN Granados, onward and upwards. But for me, he's not ready to be calling that guys like Adrian Broner or Sean Porter or those type of guys. He needs to handle business at home first before going abroad. Handle your business at home, I would say, in some very lucrative fights. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Conor Benn. And what do you think? Do you think the penny's dropped with Eddie Hearn, and now he's decided now to manage his fighters? When I say manage his fighters, less of the car crash approach now that he's left Sky, and now, you know, Matchroom the Zone. Is he going to be less of a car crash? And are we actually going to see Eddie now do the right thing, I think, which is get these fighters' careers not fast-tracked, but if he does it and he looks after his fighters, he'll have pay-per-view fighters for sure. And that's only going to be better for British boxing. So, you know, if Eddie's going to do the things he's doing, you can't knock the man's work rate. And in terms of promotion and the promoting and the work he puts out, effort, you can't knock it. It's first class. You can't knock those things. But if he could just get a good matchmaker, a top-class matchmaker, get rid of the matchmaker they've had before, get a good matchmaker in, get better commentators, and make sure his fighters are in good fights, good fights, but not fights that are career-ending or fights that are too large a jump. Congratulations to Maxi Hughes as well against Saffron. Maxi Hughes boxed really well against Saffron. I really like the way Maxi Hughes fought. He's a guy I've got my eye on. I like the way he was slipping punches, keeping tucked in, defensively responsible, counter with good left hands. I like Maxi Hughes. I liked what I saw of him. Katie Taylor, nice to see my girl in the house, Jessica McCaskill. Yeah, I love Jessica McCaskill. Always been a fan of Jessica. What she stands for as a female boxer. You don't have to flaunt your body to prove that you can fight. I love Jessica McCaskill. Classy female boxer, women's boxer. Absolute class. Considering the Olympics, we constantly say we'd say we're world champions. You're welcome to form your best players and take us on. Yeah, I like that energy. Ultratech, my brother, I've been trying to get hold of you. Yes, I just mentioned at the top of the show. I think I left an email to you as well. Was traveling away, went away for 4 or 5 days, and I just got back yesterday night. So I want to jump on a show with you, and I'd love to do a show with you. I really would. So let me know when you're ready. We'll do a show. I'll jump on a show with you, and let's get cracking. Shout out again to my man, Ultratech. Oh, make sure you subscribe to Ultratech Boxing. It's on YouTube. My man, Ultratech. He's as funny as hell, but he knows his boxing. He knows his stuff, and he's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's a good brother. He's a brother. No pressure, bro. We'll be ready. Could be ready in 40 minutes. Could be or would be. Could be is a possibility. Would be is a certainty. Let me know. Conor Benn is begging for a pacing. Barely British level. Served up as a killer. Amy Reid. Well, I try to be politically correct about this and not get into it. I've said it before, the vulnerabilities around Conor Benn. You know, he's smashing his targets. He's absolutely smashing it in the gym. Smashing it. Look, the boy's giving it his best efforts. And braggadocious, I wouldn't say he's braggadocious, but he backs himself. And you can't knock that in British boxing. But is his skills enough to pay the bills in the welterweight division against the real welterweight killers? I don't know about that much. And then he's got a tough task. Maneuver himself around the welterweight division. Really got a problem. Because there's some boys in that welterweight division. Yeah, you know what? I tell you what. Conor Benn versus Ray Robinson. You wouldn't put Conor Benn with Ray Robinson because that would be painful to watch. So Ultratech says in 40 minutes, he'll be ready. If you're going to be ready, brother, I'm going to be ready. So love to have you in 40 minutes. Let's get in and let's talk boxing. It'll be fun. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. Yeah, I like Conor Benn. He's a personality. I would love personally, if you ask him my opinion, he's an accident waiting to happen. I would like to see Conor Benn go to America and train like his father did before he gets that pace in. I really want him to go to America and learn in America. I really would. You know, I love Ben when he got beat by Michael Watson. He left England. He went to America. He came back and he fought guys to win the world title. He fought Doug DeWitt. He had to come off the deck to beat Doug DeWitt. That was a great fight, you know, a real great fight. I remember him fighting Sanderline Williams. Real tough fights Ben was in, you know. After fighting a lot of, pardon the expression, Ben, you say, I don't know where he got the expression, Mexican road sweepers. We don't hear it much said anymore, but Mexican road sweepers was something he said a lot. Basically, it was a guy that was a knockover job. You know, he said he was fed up at those fights and he wanted genuine fighters, and he fought Michael Watson, and we all know what happened there. Michael Watson was the guy that turned Nigel Benn's career around. Why ain't they calling out Virgil Ortiz? Now listen, Virgil Ortiz, I'm not impressed with. I'm not impressed with Virgil Ortiz. I just don't think Virgil Ortiz is that great. I don't think Virgil Ortiz is that great. I don't think Devin Haney's that fantastic. I don't think that Ryan Garcia's brilliant. I don't think There's a lot of these guys I don't think are that great. I don't think Boots Ennis is that great. I think they're good fighters. I just don't think that they're not the finished article. I think they could become great, but I don't think they're great fighters. I think they're good fighters. I think their prospects are good contenders. Tank Davis is a little different because he's challenged himself. He's moved up in weight. And you can question the opposition. He fought Leo Santa Cruz. He moved up again. And he's in a fight that he arguably was losing and finished it with big power punches. So I'm not convinced that some of these guys that people are boosting up. And they've been boosted up a lot because of the promotional things. They don't fill me with the greatest of confidence. Those type of guys, a lot of those guys, they could get chinned. All of them could get chinned on one night by guys who are not great. They don't fill me with confidence. I don't look at these guys and think, yeah, this guy's going to be around for 5 years. Yeah, this guy's going to be around for 10 years. I don't feel that. I don't feel that longevity. When I look at these guys, I see short careers, short careers. I don't think they're going to have long careers. Prove me wrong, but those are guys I just don't have much. And I've already seen in Devin Haney and Virgil Ortiz already that that's what I'm thinking. I'll never forget the Paynod fight. Good, and that's what you need to remember. I like Ortiz jab to the stomach. That's it. I don't know. I've just watched so much boxing. Boots Ennis has done nothing, and people think he's Roy Jones in the flesh. No, he's not. He's not. And before all the people were jumping on about Boots Ennis was on BWTM Sports. He was a regular on this channel. So I've got an eye for fighters, but I just don't think he's that great. Boots Ennis, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. If you engage with Boots Ennis, if you punch when Boots Ennis is punching, he has no defense. If you punch when he's punching, he's no defense. Nobody wants to fight Ennis. Yeah, but you know why nobody wants to fight Ennis? Because Ennis brings no money. Ennis doesn't bring money at the moment. Who's Ennis beat to say they want to fight him? A lot of these, he doesn't want to fight him. It's got nothing to do with the actual fight itself, but to do with the actual financial marketing of a guy. A lot of guys didn't want to fight Kubrat Pulev because Kubrat Pulev was demanding so much money, and it was a risk and reward. When you fight guys like Bruce Ennis, you've got to say stuff, risk and reward. Well, if this guy beats me, he's nobody. And if I beat this guy, he's still nobody. Do you understand? Because they haven't got you're taking a chance at a grasp in the dark. When everyone wants to keep their unbeaten records and wants to be the name, it's different in this era. That's what it's about for me. Ennis has no belt. Why would they? That's my point. It's boxing business. Don't get caught up in the hype of he don't want to fight him because he's a killer. He don't want to fight him because he brings no money in. What money does Boots Ennis bring in? He doesn't. Yeah, he's a talented kid. Yeah, he's got skills. But who cares about him? If he got knocked out tomorrow, nobody would care about him. Like, yeah, hype job. Move on. He doesn't have that. He hasn't got that irresistible kind of star pizzazz about him. He hasn't got he's not much he's not, at this point not much watch boxing. I'm not running home to watch Boots Ennis fight. He hasn't got that. He hasn't got that. He's not like a Deontay Wilder. I'll run home to watch Deontay Wilder fight because someone's getting knocked out. He's got that star quality. Star quality, it's that star pizzazz. That's what a guy like Boots Ennis hasn't got yet. Same thing with Demetrius Andrade. He hasn't got star quality. He's got star boxing ability. He's got skill set. He hasn't got a star quality about him. Like Keith Thurman back in the day, I tuned in to watch Keith because knockouts were coming. He's excitable. He's exciting. Those things. Or I'd tune in to watch Roy Jones, star quality. Roy Jones fights. He's going to throw loads of punches. He's going to do crazy. I'd tune in for that. I'll tune in to watch Andre Ward, but for different reasons. I used to call Andre Ward the Batman of boxing. Didn't matter if you're bigger or you're stronger, Ward would find a way to beat you. And I like to watch Andre Ward for that reason. Kovalev, I'll tune in to watch Kovalev because, you know, with that punching power, he's going to crush someone. There's a reason why I'm tuning in to watch these guys fight. Boots Ennis, why am I tuning to watch him fight? And because of that, not just Boots Ennis, you know, now Ryan Garcia. Yeah, he's flashy, but he fights with chin up in the air like a giraffe. He's exciting for that point. But I don't think he's got stability in the sport for a long period of time. The area is lined with pretenders and Twitter purists. But yeah, I've got to say that. These guys spend more time on Instagram and making sure they satisfy their Instagram fans. If you think just a second, if these guys spent less time off social media and more time on actually fighting and training, they'd be better fighters. And if they fought more regularly, they'd be better fighters too. But if you want to fight once or twice a year and you box like you're the event, that's the problem. These guys will be fighting 4 or 5 times a year. 4 or 5 times a year. You know what I mean? Or at least be seen more often. They see more regularly. You know what I mean? Remember when Mike Tyson used to fight? Tyson was fighting regular. When he was coming up, he was knocking guys out. Even if it was bum of the week, you saw Mike all the time fighting. And then, even when he was making title offenses 2, 3 times a year, you know? Look at Canelo. You're seeing Canelo twice a year. I think we may see him 3 times a year. You know what I mean? And Canelo's the top of the sport. So that's what you got. That's what I'm talking about. Amy Reed, you know. So, yeah, I want to just end on that because I have my boy Ultra Tech. So I'm going to be talking to him shortly on his show. So I want to make sure that I get in there with him and share my love with my brother. So, yeah, let me get out of this. I want to do a little bit on Deontay Wilder, and then I'm going to go on Ultra Tech Show. So thank you all so much for, as always. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Please leave your comments in the comment section, and let me hear what your thoughts are. Has the penny dropped with Eddie Hearn? Has he finally decided to start? I mean, Eddie Hearn with a good with a stable of British fighters that are pay-per-view fighters. That would be amazing for British boxing. British boxing needs it. Take care.